Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? This is Dan with and today I wanted to discuss a little bit about pay-per-click. I know a lot of people have questions about it, when to use it, when they can use it, how much it costs. There's a lot of things to discuss when it comes to PPC. One of the biggest things that you need to remember with PPC is that you need the buy box first. So if you're doing private label drop shipping, it can take a little bit of time before you get audited and get the buy box. Once you get the buy box, you can run ad campaigns. That's essentially what PPC is, pay-per-click. If you're doing FBA, it's a little different. So you're eligible to get the buy box right away. It really depends on if you have the buy box or not. So what's the easiest way to get the buy box with FBA? It's a multitude of factors. A lot of people say, oh, I need to be the lowest price, and that's not necessarily the case. It depends on the competition. So let's say, for instance, you're listing foot slippers, and there's 15 other sellers that are a split between, half are, drop shippers and the other half are, FBA. And it really depends on price as well. It really depends on where you sit in that listing. You don't have to worry about rank so much because the rank is taken care of because it's already a seasoned listing, as long as you aren't, like I said, private labeling these slippers. They're not new to market. If you're riding off another listing where you have other sellers, the ranking obviously takes care of itself because it's already a seasoned listing. So it's a combination of, are you FBAing? You get, a checkpoint. Congratulations. You're immediately better off than the drop shippers. How much do you have? What's your quantity? That is a small factor. What your price is, that's a pretty large factor, but it's not the only factor. And if the algorithm determines that you're able to get that, achieve the buy box within that listing, then you will get the buy box and you are golden. One of the beautiful things about riding off another listing is that you don't really have to drive ad traffic to it if you don't want to. Depending on the rank of the product and how many people are actually buying it, you don't really need to spend money on it. Others may. So if they're driving traffic to that listing, then you're gonna, kind of ride off that ad traffic, which is great. A few things that we wanted to talk about when it comes to PPC. So some of the questions we get quite a bit is organic versus paid. So organic traffic is non-paid traffic. It's essentially saying if you list something and it ranks high enough, more and more people are going to see it. Your ads don't need to get shown as much because, it's already high enough. It may show up on the first page. That takes a long time to get to that point, depending on what you're listing, especially if you're private labeling something, because there's no other people that are selling it. Or at least we don't think there's other people that's selling it. Something you have to keep in mind, like listing hijacking, which we discussed in another video on our YouTube channel. But organic traffic is going to make up anywhere between 60 to 90% of your traffic to your listing. Paid traffic is PPC, pay-per-click. This means that you're paying a certain amount per keyword to advertise said product to potential Amazon buyers. When a user types in something, let's say for instance like foot slippers, and it's a pretty generic term, there's probably a lot of foot slippers out there and random things may show up. But if you have keywords in your PPC campaign that says foot slippers, and you can pay a certain amount of money per let's say for instance for that keyword, and if you are the highest bidder, you win, and your ad gets displayed to potential buyers for an X period of time. The way you got to look at it, at least in our world, because we spend so much time talking about private label drop shipping. Most of your first 60 to 90 days is going to be organic. If you start off and you just do solely private label drop shipping and you don't even care about FBA, there's a good chance that you're gonna have to wait for Amazon to audit you. Length of history selling on Amazon, how your metrics look. And after that, then you'll be buy box eligible, which means since you're the only person listing it, that you're going to get the buy box, which is a good thing. And then at that point, you can start running paid traffic. When you start, let's say for instance you do that. Let's say you list only one product, you wait the 60, 90 days, you get you get audited and you can get the buy box, everything's great. Then what you can do is you can go ahead and create an ad campaign for that product. It's extremely critical because it can help you rank quicker. Advertising in the beginning isn't going to be so cheap. It's going to be expensive because this actually moves me into my next topic, automatic versus manual targeting campaigns. We usually recommend our students start off with automatic targeting for at least 7 to 14 days. This gives you a chance that Amazon basically casts a wide net, and they'll collect every popular keyword and key term that users search for, and you're going to be paying you're telling Amazon to do whatever it needs to do to just give me all the keywords, display it at any cost, just get it out there. And you're going to set a daily cap on that. Let's say for instance like $50 for that one ad campaign, which is a lot. It could potentially be that depending on how much you want to spend. And then at the end of that week or two, we usually recommend that our students pull down an ad report. And within that ad report, over a certain period of time, which you can specify, it'll show you all the keywords that users had used to search for the item that you're selling. The reason we recommend switching from automatic to manual is when you look at that ad report, there's going to be a lot of weird keywords in there. They may not even look familiar. They may be just a bunch of random strings and numbers. And this is because there's a lot of scrubbing software that goes through Amazon, and it could potentially cost you money, which we don't want to happen. So what we do recommend is that you switch to manual after a week or two. What you'll do is you'll see this massive list of keywords. You want to trim it down to the ones that are most relevant, the ones that get the most impressions, the ones that you don't have to worry about too much about cost, but the ones that actually generate sales as well. Even ones that don't generate sales, if they're getting a lot of impressions, we recommend that you keep them. And at this point, then you can limit a keyword list of maybe 500 or 600 down to maybe like 20 or 30. It's never done. You're going to continually. You're not going to from that list that you weed down to. You don't have to weed down that much right away. It depends on what you're listing and how many actual viable keywords are in that ad report. We recommend that you move to something that's much less than the most relevant keywords. And then after that, you'll put that in a manual campaign, and you can choose how much you want to spend per keyword, how many keywords you have in there. You can also include some negative keywords, which means if a user searches for, sneakers, and that was it's not a foot slipper, but it's technically something you put on your foot, you can say, don't ever include any keywords or pay for any keywords that come up with sneakers. So negative keywords are very important. We use those a lot too, and we recommend our students do that as well. So over time, just to give you an example, when we first started out in one of our stores that's making about $200,000-$300,000 a year, we started out with automatic, and we were spending, I think, for our first month, because we didn't get the buy box for everything right away. Obviously, it took us a little over 60 days to get audited. You'll see we spent, I think our first month we spent about $1,200 or $1,300 on it, because we were running about 9 or 10 different ad campaigns for different variations of products that we sell. And we were spending a lot of money, and I was just kind of scratching my head. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. So I did a lot of research, and I found that manual targeting was the way to go. So we ended up changing over the course of about a week or two, I believe. We ended up migrating all of our automatic campaigns to manual targeted campaigns, and we ended up dropping our costs down significantly, down to the $300 to $400 a month range. It's almost $1,000 savings coming from automatic to manual targeting. So when you switch to manual, like I said, you're going to have all these keywords that you switch to, and then you're going to be able to see what Amazon will put together a recommended price, and it'll be like, this is what you should pay. This is what people are paying to win. And it could be anything. It could be a few pennies up to a few dollars. It really depends on how optimal the keyword is. So a lot of students ask us, like, well, should we just always accept the recommended? And we don't recommend that. So, every week we recommend that you pull this ad report and you look to see how many impressions each keyword is getting. Once you whittle down to that amount of keywords, that's what you have to play with. And usually we don't recommend removing any. If you find that the keywords that you have are dying off, you can always switch back to automatic, get some new fresh keywords after a week, and then switch back to manual, or you can run an automatic and manual at the same time. And then, just get rid of the automatic when you're ready. You're not always going to be using the recommended. You can start off using the recommended, and if you find that you're not getting too many sales, you can, these change all the time. Just to give you an idea, one of our highest selling products, we consistently go back in every 1 or 2 days because we move that much, and we want to make sure that we're spending an adequate amount to win our ads. And it's really competitive in our space, so we need to make sure we're not spending all that much. Like we said, we're spending about $300-$400 a month because we've whittled down that much, and we're really honed in on our ad spend. But you want to you always want to make sure that you're not overspending, because remember, it's not a spend up to, it's a spend. So if you say I am willing to spend $1 on this ad every time it gets shown, you're going to spend $1. It's not, oh, well, everybody else is spending 30 cents. It's like, when you go to an auction, if you want to buy this vehicle and it auctions, starting price is 35 and they raise it up to 70, and you're like, I'll pay 100. You're paying 100 no matter what. You're not paying just over 70. So keep that in mind, that you want to make sure that you're not overspending, but you also want to make sure that you're not underspending, because that would mean, and usually that's means that like your sales are pretty slow because you're underspending on your biggest keywords. And then if you're overspending, you're going to see your ad spend go up. So it's kind of finding that happy medium that just takes time. PPC is crucial. It really only generates about 15 to 20% of our income. So let's say, for instance, we spend maybe like, $300-$400 a month. We'll get probably, I don't know, closer to like 2,000 in sales because of that. if not more. So it's not going to be it's not going to be the difference between you making, 10,000 a month and 100,000 a month, but it does help boost your product line, helps keep your ranking fresh and high. And it helps you retain that buy box. So, that's something to just keep in mind. So just make sure that when you get to that point where you have the ability to run PPC, that you're doing it, you're doing your proper research, you are pulling this ad report, you're doing audits every week, if not multiple times a week, and that'll help you keep your ad spend down while also boosting the sales for all of your products and help increase your bottom line. So that's it for today's tutorial. As always, we're here for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.